Hey Earthlings, I'm here to talk to you today about a baseball glove. The Wilson A2800 first baseman's glove. I've had 4 of them since 1976 and they're really nice. And what I'll talk about is changing them over, modifying them a bit from being a baseball glove to being more suitable for softball, for those of you who play softball. Great glove. Be right back. The modification that I do is I loosen the webbing. What this does is it allows the glove to break in really well, creates a huge pocket in there, and it also makes the glove very sticky on short hops and balls that you have to dive for, anything where you have to maybe come off the bag, up the line, make a sweep tag. I mean, I'm a right-handed first baseman, so I'm on the home plate side with my glove. I could catch the ball, hit my knees, and spin around and whip the glove around, and the ball would never come out. And part of that was this modification. I mean, it's a great glove to begin with. You don't really need to do this for baseball, and you probably shouldn't. But for softball, it gives you this extra little measure of confidence in the glove, and it enables you to be able to whip your arm around without worrying about closing the glove as soon as the ball hits it. Normally, you have to really be concerned to get your thumb clamped down around the ball. But what I do is I let the webbing out here. The ball just finds the webbing. Glove almost closes itself, and as you look at the end there, nothing's going to come out. You cannot get the ball out the end of this glove, no matter what you do. So we'll run through how I actually do that, and I'll be right back. Now what I've done here is I've temporarily reversed the modification, and it's important to understand this is a reversible, 100% reversible mod. So if you don't like it, you can restore the glove to its original condition with about a half hour's work. So you're not ruining a $200 glove or whatever. You can see how the webbing is now locked down tight here just by tightening up the rawhide. All of these bars and this area here are only held to the rest of the glove by rawhide. So you don't have to mess with anything that's sewn in. You don't have to mess with anything that's been looped around. You're not cutting the glove. You're not doing anything stupid to it. The only sewn in part is up here. And you wouldn't want to loosen that anyway because the glove would then become unstable. So this is how it comes. Again, it's a baseball glove. It's not a softball glove. Baseball goes in there fine. Closes up nicely here, snaps shut here. Beautiful, great glove for baseball, right off the shelf. You might want to loosen it up, maybe a ½ inch or something, with a similar mod to what we're going to do with the softball, just for the break-in period, so that the webbing will have a chance to learn how a ball is supposed to sit in there, way down low down here. But that's optional. I don't think it's necessary. Watch the difference with a softball, though. Watch what happens when a softball goes in there. Look at that. Oh, boy. You make a short hop play on that, you better close your hand immediately when the ball hits the glove, or that thing is going to come shooting out like there's no tomorrow. It'll snow cone, and it'll do all kinds of stuff. And the worst thing of all, it'll cause the glove to break in funny. You start catching balls like that, and you break it in, it's going to close down here, and it's going to actually learn to have the end of it open, and then you are going to be completely hosed because you won't catch anything anymore. You know, short hops or backhand stuff or diving plays, you just aren't going to stand a ghost of a chance unless you're a whole lot better fielder than I ever was, and I was pretty good. Again, reversible mod, something you just want to do for softball. Let me show you. I'll just show you how quickly you can pull it back out. Now it's big and loose and floppy. Look at that. That ball hit up here, and yet it found its way to that deep pocket down here. That's why you do this mod. It'll just save your bacon a million times. Every once in a while, you'll have a little problem digging the ball out. But I guarantee you'll get about a ratio of about 20 putouts that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Putouts and ground balls that you field and balls that you dive for every ball that you cannot get out of your glove. And I was a right-handed first baseman, so I had to fuss a little bit with the throw anyway. I had to turn my body to throw to second base. So I had extra time to dig it out anyway. And a lefty, I mean, you have a little extra time over what I would have had anyway for the transfer because you're already in position to throw. So if you take a split second extra to dig the ball out, it's usually not going to cost you the put out at second base. So highly recommend this. And I will show you how it's actually done in a second. Okay, you will need some tools and materials, but they're pretty minimal. The one thing you really need is one of these glove needles. This is much better than this other thing that you're going to get with like a sporting goods store, like a cheap sporting goods store glove repair kit. Try to find one of these needles. I got this at Grogan Marciano in Mansfield, Mass. They're on the internet. You can find them other places. Any leather goods type place would probably have this too. What this is, it's a needle with a threaded end here. And what you do is you cut the rawhide so that it's got a taper. Then you put it in there and you kind of thread it in there. And the threads hold the rawhide in place so that you can then guide the rawhide through here, pull it, and it doesn't get caught back up in here while you're trying to pull it through. So that's the idea behind it. This is another way the rawhide goes in. It's kind of clunky to work with. The head on it is pretty big and it'll tend to stretch out the holes. So I try to stay away from this. This is actually good for sometimes for prying. When you have a loop or something, you can pry with this very effectively. So it's not like it's not worth having around, but if you're going to get one or the other, get the needle. And always, 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 and I can't stress this enough, buy the right rawhide. Buy the good stuff. Look at the crap that came with this in the glove repair kit. Yeah, that's going to last a long time. It's bone dry. It's about maybe not even half as wide or as thick as the good stuff. Again, bought this right from Steve Grogan from the Patriots. He was sitting right there. Steve Grogan, can you sell me a big piece of rawhide? Yeah, sure. This actually has to be longer too. I don't have a full length piece. You need to use the whole lace. You need to thread the whole lace in there at first. Use only what you need, but you don't want to come up short after you've gone through the whole glove. So use the entire lace, 36 or 42 inches or whatever it is, and you will be fine. And I'll be right back with more. Another good idea here is get some glove oil, or anything, doesn't have to be this, something compatible with leather. Sometimes even that mink oil stuff is good that people use on their boots. Open it up, put a little bit on a rag, and before you thread the rawhide through, just drag it through the oil. You don't need to saturate it, you don't need to pickle it. Just do it a couple of times, because you're never going to get another chance to oil this. And as long as you get some oil on it, it'll last a lot longer. Remember, this rawhide is going to be bearing the brunt of every throw from your infielders, and you want it to last. You don't want to be doing this every few months. You should be able to get about 2 years out of this mod at least, if it's done with the right materials and the right technique and you oil the rawhide. So do it right, you'll be happy later. The only other tool you might want to have around is some kind of pliers, just because sometimes when you're coming through a long area you can only get this part of the needle through, and you might want to be able to pull it like that. I have a hard time grabbing, and especially if there's any oil in the mix, I have a hard time grabbing the end of that with my old sore fingers. So pair of pliers. You have those around the house, I trust. Okay, the mod in a second. Okay, believe it or not, this entire contraption is held together with just 2 knots. There's one here, there's one here. Decide which one you want to start with. It really doesn't matter, because if you leave a little slack, you can always adjust later. I generally start with the middle one, so I already have that knot untied, and I'll show you the technique for success. You've already undone the knot. So what I recommend you do, first off, you get the ball out of there, pull it through, just pull it through one hole at a time, And again, remember you're starting with an entire lace here, not this little remnant that I have. Put that through there. Just leave the needle sticking out so you can tell where it is. Pull out the next section, which goes through this piece of the lattice. Find the hole, thread it through. Oop, see, I didn't screw that down well enough. See, I'm an idiot too. We're all idiots.